Hey guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kids Show, and today we're talking about Starfield. And I want to thank this special, mentally deranged Xbox fanboy that inspired the creation of this video. Apparently they got really mad at some of the things I had to say about the Xbox showcase, jumped on his burner account just to talk all this weird shit about me. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for inspiring me to make this video. Also, really special shout out to my Puerto Rican brother, I Do Juegos. The dude is the biggest troll on Twitter. He's always been a great supporter of the channel, always supported me with doing YouTube and making content in general and just having fun with it. And yeah, like, I love this dude. He's that one that actually put it in my head to make a dedicated video to Starfield. So I appreciate you putting the thought in my head because I hadn't thought of it until you mentioned it. But yeah, guys, getting right into it. Xbox fanboys played themselves, and I mostly stayed quiet because most of these dudes was just like, yeah, wait till Starfield, wait till Starfield, wait till Starfield. And I could tell they have never played a Bethesda RPG ever in their life, because if they did, they would know better. But unfortunately, they don't. They became super duper Bethesda fanboys once Microsoft had bought Bethesda. And then they acted like they played every game, they knew every fucking thing. But yeah, clearly they don't know every fucking thing because they don't understand Creation Engine, the bane of every Bethesda open world RPG player's existence. They also don't know Bethesda's in-house. Now, taken from me, a long-suffering Bethesda fan. A little history about me is that Oblivion was one of my favorite games of all time. And to be fair, it still is in my top 10. For a long time, it was my number one favorite video game that I'd ever played. Admittedly. And that was my opening, that was basically my, how do you say? Gateway drug? Yeah. It's pretty much my gateway drug. That was the first Bethesda open world RPG game I played. And I got it as a blind buy, pretty much. My dad took me to FYE, it was my birthday, and he said, yeah, you could pick out a couple games. So he didn't say that they had to be a certain amount of money, he just said 2 games. So I'm like, cool. I can't remember the other game I bought, but the game I did buy was a complete blind buy by getting a special edition of Oblivion that had just been randomly sitting around. And I was like slick about it. I'm like, oh, I want the special edition because it comes with this extra shit. Dad didn't say, he said 2 games. He didn't say how much the 2 games had to be, so I chose that one just because it was like a special edition. I thought I was getting something special. And the special edition came with like a coin, and I still wish I had it. I wish I had it, but I didn't take care of my things back then. I didn't realize I'd be so nostalgic when I was 14 years old. And it came with like a book talking about the world and the characters and all this other shit. It was like this little brown book, coin, a DVD where God Howard is talking about the makings of Oblivion and all that. It was actually really cool, simple, like special edition. So brought those games home, played the first game for a little while, then eventually I opened up Oblivion, looked through the extra shit, and then popped it in, and it was history from there. That was a game I was obsessed with playing consistently for 3 straight years. And back then I could only play games on the weekends. So every weekend I would pop in Oblivion. Every weekend. I mean, the yearly Dragon Ball Z release would replace the game for a little bit, but I would pop Oblivion back in for 3 years. I love that world. I had like 10 characters. I beat the story a few times. Like I was just ecstatic to just create a new type of character and just roleplay. Just roleplay and explore, and I love exploring in games. I always loved it, as long as it feels rewarding. And in Oblivion, it's like you just walk around, you come, in this forest, you see these monsters, these fucking like crabs or these green fucking things. I forget what they're called. And it's just a lot of bullshit. You come across a cave that leads into a dungeon. You find some cool shit in the dungeon. You get through that. You fucking lockpick and get all the extra shit. You beat the enemies, you keep walking, you come across a group of people worshiping this fucking this statue, and they have this story, and they're dealing with this bullshit, and it's like it's nonstop. Like if you love exploring, Oblivion back then was the greatest gift to an explorer when it came to gaming. And I completely fell in love. It was my favorite thing for a really long time. So much so that when I got Skyrim, uh, I didn't like Skyrim nearly as much as I liked Oblivion. I'll always say that Oblivion was a better game, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. But since then, since Oblivion, I was looking for that same experience again. And I would buy every Bethesda open world release since. And to be fair, Oblivion wasn't a perfect game. Some of the it was voice acted by like 3 people that did all those characters. Some of the voice acting lines were clearly mistakes, and that made it to the final cut. The glitches, the stupid shit. It was a bunch of stupid shit. It's just, at the time, it was just like nothing else. That's what made it so good. The only other voice actor besides the 3 voice actors that voiced all the characters was Sir Patrick Stewart, that played the Emperor, and he didn't last very long, to say the least. But since then, I looked for the same experience, and I enjoyed Fallout 3, but still problems. I enjoyed Fallout New Vegas. That wasn't made by Bethesda's in-house, it was made by Obsidian, but they were also using Creation Engine, which led to it being a mess. I mean, one of the most memorable moments is when you start the game, and the doctor that comes across you, and brings you to his home, his fucking head is spinning. Like it's the fucking Exorcist or some shit. And then, oof, it just got worse with every release. Because Creation is an old piece of shit engine. I don't care if they call it Creation 2. I don't give a fuck what they call it. They're still using the same fucking engine they used since Morrowind. And that is why every game that comes out is a broken, shitty release that the modding community needs to fix. And it's like every release, Fallout 4 was the absolute worst for me. It was the worst experience, and I denied everything. Like basically where Xbox fanboys are now, I was when Fallout 4 came out, or when Fallout 4 was essentially announced. When they announced Fallout 4, everyone was complaining that the graphics look fucking old, and I'm like, no, man, look how much better it looks than last gen Fallout, like Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It looks so good. Like, it's gonna be fun. It's going to be this immersive world. And it was torture. It was torture. It was worse and worse and worse than anything. There was the lack of RPG elements, the fact that your character spoke, and they were boasting, Bethesda was boasting that, this game's going to have more dialogue than fucking Fallout 3 and Skyrim combined. And it's like, yeah, but you neglect to say that 65% of that dialogue belongs to your character that you're playing as, and the unused dialogue of the opposite gender of the character you could have chosen to play as, and that everyone else's dialogue, no matter what fucking options you made, would end up being the same exact dialogue. Huge downgrade. The roleplay elements, every iteration of an open world Bethesda game gets downgraded more and more and more. The one positive about Starfield is that apparently your character is going to be silent again, which is to me a very big positive, because at least there'll be a dialogue and different dialogue differentiations depending on the choices that you make in the game. Because with the NPCs, they would all say all the same shit in Fallout 4. It was depressing, absolutely depressing. Fallout 4 was the insane glitches. My whole goal when I played the game is I wanted to side with the Brotherhood of Steel. But guess what? When I went to go talk to the person that started the Brotherhood of Steel questline in Fallout 4, I found out that the questline was glitched and I couldn't start it. So at that time, and the thing is, I don't know when it glitched, so it wasn't like I can go back to my 50 saves that I have, because that's here's a first tip if you're playing a Bethesda open world RPG, Xbox fanboys, because I know you haven't played one before. Make as many saves as you possibly can. It won't always save you, but at least you have all those saves to go back to. I didn't know which save to go back to, because who the fuck knows when in the world that it decided to glitch. You can't tell, because I had just come across them just then, so I was fucked. So, in complete anger, I went full evil and decided to side with the synths in anger. with a desire to just destroy everything because of how angry I was that I couldn't carry out the game the way I had wanted to. So yeah, started with the synths. And yeah, I remember fighting the Brotherhood of Steel because I had sided with the synths. And that entire battle was me against a fuck ton of Brotherhood of Steel peoples, and that shit, it ran at fucking 10 frames on my PS4. I will never forget how absolutely atrocious that game was, from the frame rate drops to the glitches to just the lack of roleplay elements in comparison to previous releases. It was just a complete total mess. And Starfield, and the fact that it just looked old. Starfield looks just as old, if not older, than Fallout 4. It was very apparent from the start, right when you see you're in your character's body inside the ship. The first thing I noticed was, God damn, this game looks fucking dated. It looks like a 360 game. That's literally my immediate response. And the gunplay is just as horrible as it always has been. And just everything about it just looks so mundane, from the glitchiness that we've seen with the fucking bodies getting shot and just disappearing pretty much. It's, people's heads are backwards. It is exactly what I expect from Bethesda's in-house, and if you expect it to be any better, then you are foolish, unless this game gets a serious overhauling delay in which Microsoft essentially makes Bethesda curate every little bug in the game, and trust me, there will be tons of them. So, yeah, the fact that Xbox fanboys thought that Starfield was going to be the end-all be-all, the game that was going to send Xbox to the moon and past the stars, you are a fool. I'm sorry to say. And it's not to be disrespectful, because I was a fool once too. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's why I refuse to be a fool. And while I didn't really say much about Xbox fanboys acting like Starfield was going to be Xbox's gift, like God presenting a gift to mankind, Xbox presenting a gift to Xbots, don't fall for it. If you have any sense at all, you will educate yourself on how fucked this engine and these devs are, because they're not the ones that fucking fix the game and squash the bugs. It's the mods that do. The modding community is amazing for these games. So if you have any sense at all, you won't even play that fucking game on console. I mean, unless you want to buy the mods. But yeah. I don't even know what else to say. Just don't get your hopes up, peeps. If you have any self-respect at all, like I do. And the thing is, I play every Bethesda release. I normally wait for sales and shit now. But I even played Fallout 7. I played Fallout 76 in hopes that I can have that experience again. Like I did when I played Oblivion for the first time. And the only other time I ever had that feeling of the sense of adventure was just one other time, and that was while playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That was the only other time. I still look for that moment, and I still hope sometimes. It's a false sense of hope, but it's a controlled sense of hope. I know it's not going to come, but I'm willing to at least try and not throw all my money on it. And I will try Starfield on Game Pass, in hopes that maybe I will recapture a moment in time that I don't think is possible. But overall, I know it's highly unlikely. And I definitely won't take Starfield seriously. That's a fact. I can't afford to take Starfield seriously. If anything, maybe I'll just laugh at it, have a few gags with the buddies on Xbox Game Pass, because I would definitely not pay $70 for that fucking game. Sorry to say. And the fact the game is running at 4K 60. No, wait. Not even 4K 60. It's actually running at 4K 30. And it still looks that shit. Ooh. Yeah. There's no amount of power that can clearly, from the Xbox Series X, that can fix that game. I don't even think my PC can fix that game. And given I'm running with pretty decent power, 3060 i7, was it 11700K, so I'm running with decent power considering 16 gigs RAM. But My this is more of a warning. I mean, it's a little bit of trolling. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to people. I love trolling some of these people in the community. I mean, it's hilarious that I'll record one of these videos and it's like my goal is to make someone mad, like do anything to make someone mad, but then it ends up getting real as fuck. Like it gets super fucking real when the camera's rolling, and then I rewatch these videos and I'm like, I was just doing this to troll, but the video ended up being real as fuck. And now it's like, I don't know if I can consider this trolling because I'm being serious. But anyways, guys, that's all I gotta say about that. Once again, thanks to the Xbox fanboy that inspired this video. I really appreciate you, bro. Keep on hating with your fucking loser ass going on a burner account just to try and make me feel bad. Yo, I appreciate you. Nothing like hatred to get some inspiration going, bro. And with all that being said, guys, I appreciate you talking with me, and I'm out. Peace.